Carrie Hammer, I met at a conference in New York and was impressed by the way she had relooked at a very traditional industry, very set in its ways, the fashion industry. I'll let Carrie tell her story, and incidentally, you might recall, she's the one that designed that coin that, what did you call us, Sam? Schmucks? Is that what you call it? Schmucks, yeah, we were called Schmucks for carrying the coin that Carrie designed. With that, Carrie Hammer.
Mwah.
Good to see you.
Not Schmucks. Hey, guys. I hope you've been flipping that coin. I haven't seen enough flips. More flips, please. So thank you so much for having me here. This is really an extraordinary honor. So I started my fashion line in 2012, Carrie Hammer, because out of my own personal frustration with the lack of powerful yet feminine clothing for professional women. And ladies, I think you all know what I'm talking about. Yay, oh, applause. When I entered fashion from advertising, I realized very quickly that the business of beauty is very ugly. So I started a revolution. I call it the Runway Revolution. So today, I'm gonna tell you how I did it and all about it. In the past 2 years, my emerging brand has hosted 5 viral global fashion shows with over 1 billion combined media impressions, and that's billion with a B. So how did I do it? How did we do it? I'll let you in on the secret, but just between us. Sex doesn't sell. Authenticity sells. To go viral, you have to create a virus. You have to stand for something bigger, something greater, something positive. So while my carrier cell is my fashion line, thank you, and my fashion shows, my virus is empowering women and changing the global definition of beauty. So let me start from the beginning. I was asked to show at New York Fashion Week 2 years ago, and I was going through this checklist with my stylist, NG. She says, okay, DJ, lighting, etc. She goes, are we holding a model casting? It's like, ugh. Nothing sounds worse than holding a model casting. See, how I met my stylist was we were styling a hair show in New Jersey, and no judging because we all have to start somewhere. You know, gotta hustle. And so we met there, and guess how young the youngest model was at that show? Guess. 12. She was 12. She showed up with her algebra homework. It was weird. So after her hair and makeup was done, and we begrudgingly styled and dressed her, she looked like she was 30. And that was the first time that I personally experienced the fashion industry and what was happening. And that was the first time I came face to face with the realization that this is what was happening everywhere. In fashion, in advertising, I'd guess the average age of the woman on this runway is 16. So Angie and I were kind of going over that story and said, Angie, I don't feel comfortable using traditional models when all of my clients are such role models. That was a lightning bolt moment for me. Sky kind of opened up and I said, oh my gosh, we're gonna do role models, not runway models. So that's what we did. This is our first show. And that was a pivotal moment for me, and as I would later find out, the fashion industry. With that first show, I called up all my clients. I said, hey, wanna walk in a fashion show during New York Fashion Week? And I found out the answer to that question is a very quick, oh my gosh, yes. It really is. In that very first show right here, we had CEOs, entrepreneurs, philanthropists, activists, the likes of the founder of The Daily Show, the head of the Google Fiber project, the head of new products at ABC. The women who walked that runway exuded passion and confidence, and it exuded from their accomplishments. They didn't have to fake it because they were the real deal. So after that, one of the models we originally cast in that show is super sexy, a leggy blonde, a doctor, a sex therapist at that. She happens to be in a wheelchair. Dr. Danielle Shapuk is a client and a very good friend of mine, and she happens to have a disability. But she has never been held back by that or defined by it. Like my blue eyes do not define me. That first show went incredibly well. We got so many positive reactions from everyone who attended, and the attendees said it was one of the best things they'd ever done in their entire lives. But then we got no press, literally nothing. And I was devastated. I thought nobody understood what we were trying to do, that role models were the new and true definition of beauty. Then I got a call from a friend 2 weeks later. She said, "Oh my gosh, run to your Facebook." And I opened it up. There was an article published by a small news publication that was liked or shared 3,000 times, liked 10,000 times in 21 minutes, the very definition of viral. It was then picked up by everyone, even globally, you name it. Fox, CNBC, Today Show, Good Morning America, Le Monde, Daily Mail. It was everywhere. And that's when I had my second lightning bolt moment. This wasn't just my fashion show. This was my platform for change. This was my Runway Revolution. After all that press, the emails poured in. Girls told me, "Thank you so much. The models on your runway are every size, every shape, every color, every ability, even every age. I have never seen myself reflected on a runway in a powerful or positive manner." Can you imagine seeing 10,000 images a day, which is how many we see now, and never seeing yourself reflected back to you? Some of the emails I received literally shocked me and shook me to the core. And there were 2 emails in particular that changed my life. There was one from a beautiful woman named Karen Crespo, who saw us on the cover of Yahoo. She lost all of her limbs to bacterial meningitis 3 years ago. Oops. She lost all of her limbs to bacterial meningitis 3 years ago. And she said, "Carrie, I didn't know what to make of this. I was a normal woman, and then this happened. I'd never felt beautiful, and then I saw your show. And I realized for the first time since this happened that this was my life's purpose, to show other women they could be beautiful." So we, of course, asked her to model on our runway, and she was extraordinary. She did like a sexy wink at the end of the runway. And she inspired, I'm sure, millions of other women. Another email that absolutely shook me and, again, changed my life was from a mother who said, "Carrie, this is extraordinary what you're doing. I'm sure it's changing hearts and minds. But I'm really worried about my 4-year-old daughter, Grace. She was born with 1 extra chromosome, which makes her a beautiful girl who happens to have Down syndrome. And I'm afraid that she won't have any role models that are powerful and positive, and I don't think she'll have the same opportunities as her brothers and her peers. Would you please provide her a role model?" I said, "Of course." This is Jamie Brewer. She's the first ever model on the runway globally who happens to have Down syndrome, and she's also a very famous actress. She's on American Horror Story. After that show last February, it was trending #1 on Facebook, Twitter. Thousands of emails, tweets, comments poured in. It was beyond what I could have ever expected. The great news about fashion is they're famous for copying what works. These are 2 shows 1 year after our very first show with models who happen to have disabilities. And then what's amazing about all of this is there are now over 30 brands who've joined the revolution, who've included powerful, positive role models and models of diversity in their campaigns. excuse like the blurry image, abstract art, and including the likes of Target, Gap Inc., Kenneth Cole, the Anthropology, Uniqlo, and even the queen bee herself, Beyonce. So you know we've made it. What's amazing and really important about this, and then Instagram just 3 days ago launched a campaign called #RunwayForAll. They're including images of diverse models on their platform to 163 million followers, helping to further expand the definition of beauty. What's amazing about all of these things combined is that I'm just one emerging brand, but between all of our combined platforms and their multi-billion-dollar media spends, this moves the needle. And this is important. I hope this serves as a tipping point and not a trend, because we spend more on beauty than on education and social services combined. Yet, only 4% of women self-identify as beautiful. That's maybe only one woman in this room. 6 out of 10 young women start self-selecting themselves out of sports, activities, even raising their hand in class, because they don't feel good about the way they look. This has huge reverberating effects on our society. The way we see women is the way we treat women, and overwhelmingly, we see women like this. It's time to shift towards role models, not runway models. If she can see it, she can be it. It's time to see women like this. Not the middle, the sides. And putting powerful women on my runway and showing very positive business results was all it took for an entire 1.5 trillion industry, not all of it, but a lot of it, to follow suit. So I'll leave you with this. This segment is about paradigm shifts. There's a famous parable where 2 fish swim past each other. One goes, "Wow, the water's great today." And the other fish goes, "What's water? What water are we all swimming in?" It's time for us to all jump out of the fishbowl in our lives, in our businesses. Too much hangs in the balance, and what we do matters beyond what we do. By now, I hope you've all had your own lightning bolt moment. What paradigm is it time for you to reimagine? And what are you going to do about it? Thank you very much. Thanks so much.
That was great.
Mwah.
That was great. The business of beauty is ugly. I have 2 daughters, 5 and 7, and that had something to do with why this resonated with me. And Carrie said, "What's my virus? What are you trying to accomplish, and what's the virus you're going to spread?" Think of Ted Wright and word-of-mouth marketing, our friend you heard from yesterday. What is my virus?